Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when them cook the soup or plasas where them like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when them cook the soup or plasas where them like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when them cook the soup or plasas where them like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when them cook the soup or plasas where them like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen.
Monday, January 16. Good morning and welcome to the very first edition of a program where we call Colres right on We Had on YouTube and on Facebook. Well, today inside the Colres program, we don't come for look at the different paper them where basically they make headline them inside the country Sierra Leone. So we look at this first paper where we begin with this morning, where basically get for do with the Saloon Compass. Saloon Compass now the first paper where we look inside the program this morning. And this one gets for do with headline where say votes of confidence for Samura and Cherno Cherikuko. And you get Orange Sierra Leone host first ever customer data management seminar. This is another story for you inside the Compass newspaper. The Calabash newspaper say Permanent Secretary of Transport Ministry in big mess for over 1.3 billion bad contract. and CRN Sierra Leone releases report on fact-finding at Sierra Leone Brewery. Guild of Newspaper Editor Hope Africell Sierra Leone. And you get India concludes 2 days Voice of Global South Summit, and NP Sierra Leone remains a reliable and dependable development partner. NCPD holds symposium on needs to ratify the African Disability Protocol. This is another story for you inside the Calabash newspaper. The next one at the Premier News will say Sierra Leone Commercial Bank launches Golden Jubilee celebration. Telecom operator increases voice and data tariff. Sierra Leone signs up for National Digital ID pilot. This another story for you inside the Premier News. In the AZ newspaper say historic appointment for Cambia. APC, SLPP, NGCC for C celebrates new finance minister. And he get 14 years old died in FGM shrine. And Sierra Leone seek to imitate Rwanda's CPIA progress. This is another story there for you inside the AZ newspaper. The Concord newspaper for this morning say Parliament urge new finance minister to fix economy. Citizen decry tariff increase on voice call mobile data. MP welfare bill to resurface. EcoBank handles hand over motorbike other prices to 8 lucky customers. This is another story there for inside the Concord Times newspaper. And the next paper for this morning at the Independent Observer newspaper, where it says Speaker cries over reckless Okada riding. Guild honors Mercury International. This and other story inside the Independent Observer newspaper. And then you get the Awoko newspaper where it says Cambia police arrest 3,246 government of Sierra Leone exercise book. President Bio receives first Sierra Leonean Ahmadiyya Amir. And you get Parliament passes bill to expand jurisdiction of magistrate courts, streamline justice system. And you get McKinney, 3 major road under construction. This is another story for you inside the Awoko newspaper. And the next paper for this morning, now the Salone Times newspaper, where it says Salone SLPP government cannot account for over 583 billion in 4 years. Editors Guild honors Mercury International and Africell. Second edition of AYE Forum ends in Freetown. This is another story there for you inside the Salone Times newspaper. Well, now the story then this way, the paper then this way we actually get for you inside the program this morning. For let we discuss different things them where get for basically do with the story them where come up from the different newspaper them this morning. Well, for April, like always, we get your man. We don't join me inside the program. We na Melvin Tijan Mansare. Melvin basically na the resident reporter na Parliament. Resident reporter na Parliament, where they look at different things them where get for do with the Parliament. How Parliament they do them things them and basically they look at and as well they analyze other issues that we get to do with national development. So of course, I don't join me inside the program this morning for let me talk about different issues them where don't pop up from the different newspaper them this morning. Melvin, good morning and welcome to another beautiful edition of this own program where we call Couriers. Good morning, happy weekend. How the weekend be, Talek? And happy week ahead.
God be the glory, all his goodness and his mercy. We cannot complain. You know we have a work. So we can, God be the glory.
All right. So we going to the different paper them where we don't see come up this morning from the story them where they don't able for generate over the weekend from last week all over the country. And we don't see them come up with different things then way now basically we they come for look at. But briefly, I think Parliament will get a lot of things them way happen. You know, inside the inside there for SECA, the national issue, I've been listening to, especially when they pass the finance, when they approve the finance minister. I hear some interesting bits them where I go really like for them we analyze good one inside the program. But before that, I think we're going to go by the tradition, strictly by the tradition. We now for watch the different paper them and see what they come up with. I think a lot of things then they will go able for watch inside. But it be fun over the weekend, right? Or last week in the Parliament?
Last week, of course. Last week.
Sorry, the line all you there. I know what you say.
Last week Thursday. Last week Thursday.
Okay. And throughout the week, a lot of activities they happen at Parliament, ain't it?
Of course, Parliament visit last week Tuesday and Thursday as the normal time the way they can sit. Although some of them sitting they start very late, and then we get some procedural issues with some ministers do not be go, although then they get go lay some paper then, but they not be see ministers. So the house we get for expunged, which also gets that some of them paper then wait for the day where the minister do not go sit just now. Again, yes, on Thursday we see the confirmation just after the committee hearing, the committee on appointments and public service interviews some presidential nominees, among them have been Samadi Bangura. He was Deputy Minister of Finance too, but now he has been promoted to Minister of Finance substantive. And like this way, she say the debate was interesting around the economy, but apparently there were some left out issues. For example, the extant summoning of the bank governor and the Minister of Finance even before his sacking, what could have been responsible, and other technical issues around inflation, taxation, and the likes. But what is new, I'm still reviewing, but I'm sure the minister was just saying.
So amongst the people that have been supposed for appear na Parliament, na the minister, na the bank governor.
Before last week, the bank governor he used someone in the Parliament long before last week. Not even 2 or 3 months. Long before now. At the start of the bank governor for. We explain around the redenomination of the currency, how much bullion was in existence, how much million is being introduced, what the cost of it, among several other issues around the auctioning of dollar, and several other issues before now. So he has never appeared, although a member of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Tawakon said the same. Appear and be there explain, but I think that seems to be far from the reality.
So we don't see the issue of the bank governor. Plenty of them in the call and pass them, they force him back, put her under heat before ever anyone can. But apart from that, he hardly just work on the onomoso can pass them get hit. Why that can happen?
And that's because he gets a negative issue with Parliament after he was embarrassed by the Transparency and Accountability Committee then chaired by Honorable Ibrahim Tawakonte, when he was rigorously probed. And in fact, one of his officials was detained in Parliament by that committee on the instruction of Honorable Ibrahim Tawakonte. He felt very offended and in fact wrote a letter to the Speaker complaining the action of the committee and the chairperson. And also, in fact, I need to learn that that letter was copied to the President. So it was, perhaps in his own estimation, belittled by Parliament when he was thoroughly grilled. And after which, we'll not see he gets a healthy relationship with Parliament anymore.
So, but this is not the issue for talk about. Parliament, they work now for hold, the executive arm of government to account. Or, anybody where the old couple for the country, therefore hold them to account. But what's not the issue with where they call them for ask them question, he feel embarrassed because of the kind of question they ask him, to the extent that he even writes letter to the president for complaint. The chairman and write to the speaker, he copy the president, write to the speaker, the complaint, the chairman on the public account committee, then send them.
Well, it just so that the executive know how to be curtailed by legislative powers. It shows that if you don't get a strong parliamentary, politically diverse, and nationally or patriotic enough, those issues can be muzzling for the MP, for example. If the bank governor is complaining to the speaker, if you are not made of a standard stuff, you don't get thick skin, that's automatically a problem for you, the MP. But even when you are tough, it shows that you are doing your job, but somebody normally did the job from the executive side of things. And this will be the epic case of the Bank Governor and the Transparency Accountability Committee.
So this speaks to the fact that the bank governor actually get a backing where make it even where they perform badly, but it gets strong backing.
Of course, that will not be far-fetched, because if the bank governor they even challenge the authority of a parliamentary committee using due process when I write, but it shows that not so by himself, but he gets stronger forces behind them. Mine is highly intellectual. He almost attempted to lecture MPs, but it was quickly disregarded by some member of the called Honorable Sali Usman Sise SOS. So this for me, the bank governor perhaps an economic theorist rather than practicalist, and that was exposed earlier on in tenure by Parliament. So you never get a good time. You never think about going to Parliament, and unfortunately, Parliament cannot drag him. That day the limitation comes in when you talk about Parliament, because the Parliament want drag him, the executive go give the clearance, the presidents go agree, and all of those things. Will the MPs have the latitude from their political parties? These are some of the fundamental issues whether the old developments are back, because people don't want to be transparent and accountable, and you get a parliament which can be easily influenced or compromised, as the case may be.
Salon, we country get two different notes where they circulate, the old and the new. Even on the internet, you get the old and the new, where it can make it very difficult for some people for even understand what in they for actually they work with. Salon, the LEONEs, in as much as we get two LEONEs, two notes where they circulate, it only depreciate serious one. I'm not comparing to the dollar, but to the even with neighbor when are the Guinea franc. Salon, the kind way how money they even short na the bank. With all of this, the bank governor not still one for be held accountable.
Interestingly, something I don't know if I'm passing on a mistake. The leader of government business, or not even Machinima, I don't want to say confess, but attest that the using of two LEONEs, the two different notes, is causing a problem for the economy. And not the fact. I think that was a very poignant statement where the civil society and with the media for look at. If that's if somebody as high place as that of the leader of government business, while making his validatory comments, contribution on the debates, confirming the new bank governor is saying that is a problem.
Finance minister.
Then we want, the confirmation of the new finance minister is saying the using of two currency and two different denominations is causing a problem. Then that in itself, be it in passing, speaks volume to the fact that perhaps we even equalize the problem so much as to why we are using two different denominations and what are the consequences to it. So it was an issue raised in the world, but not given that much stringence. I don't hope that the parliament for me even stand down the idea of the new finance minister and go seek assurance from committee room number 1 that whoever is summoned or is somebody else as summoned, they will make it a duty to attend. But that was not done. So parliament was there just talking. And it was a missed opportunity basically for celebrating.
On that note, if I can borrow the word of the speaker, on that note, we go to this paper where now the AZ newspaper we say historic appointment for Gambia. It basically this not the story. It say APC, SLPP, NGCC for C4C celebrates new finance minister based on what you talk so, and now all of the MP them actually celebrates the appointment of this new finance minister. That's what happen.
Well, I agree partly with the paper that there were no adverse opinion, and I was establishing that this morning. Which you were expecting some of the issue me and you discuss, so some of them come up in passing, but not with much emphasis. And I was hoping that there'll be some political drama. Perhaps the opposition come and say, let's hold this confirmation for now, and let's examine the state of the economy. For example, requesting for the handing over notes of the former finance minister. But Parliament, I don't know, perhaps the capacity of the parliamentarians need to be built more. Because I know for Ghana, if you are coming into a new office, the MPs then get the power for go look into the handing over notes also. But here in the Sierra Leone Parliament, the Committee on Appointment and Public Service is furnished with all this information. But again, the public interest is of their confirmation, and for example, the issue of him being the new finance minister allegedly being a single signatory to the COVID account. You would have expect Parliament at committee stage to get a deviation around that, going thoroughly around that.
So hold on.
But
this new finance minister now the sole, signatory to the COVID account.
That was an allegation made by the Africanist press.
Okay.
If you follow the report.
Okay.
So those issues were all vetted, or thoroughly vetted. Then you ask yourself, I was hoping that some kind of scandal will appease at least the public interest on this, because the state of the economy, for the fact that the president is making a change, and that is the third change. I mean, it was Judith Safai and Vandy and now this new man. It's almost like the justice ministry. It shows that something is wrong. And unfortunately, Parliament was not there to establish that from a strong political standpoint, in my opinion.
Okay. So now the question is, if you can watch the next paper where we get, then basically they ask the finance minister for the urgent for able for fix the economy. This now waiting Concord Times newspaper in Kari. You get me? Okay. We'll get issue with in line and that. You get me, please?
Yes, I get you.
Yes, the parliament as well, they urge the new finance minister for a fix the economy.
Yeah, but that was for me just a political rendition or a political rhetoric. If you've not done something within four years and more, what can you do in 6 months or 5?
Wow. So and this person not a new man at the system. And now person is basically maybe he don't dey inside the system, he know exactly what thing they happen, he don't contribute inside the system, you know all of the problem them. Okay, we don't all actually Melvin in line or Anglo Pianda Force. They try for connect. They try for connect. I think we look at money and parliament business this morning. Alright, the program we watch right now, correct, right on the we are on YouTube and on Facebook. We actually look at different papers them inside the program this morning. Alright, please bear with me. We'll come back just now. Let me try for see how best we can forget. I just did get note from Obaka Kamara say the sound from the guest not too good. Let me try for see what in happen. The internet actually they give that kind of problem they I make.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how sneeze again what go here today. But this be small.
Alright, so Melvin, basically I've been trying to ask you this question. You know, we find out say in as much as the parliament they ask the new finance minister for fixer, you don't tell me say now more like something we not get better answer. But look at this thing. This man not new into the system. He don't contribute into the system. Any good and bad thing we don't happen inside the system, one way or the other, he don't contribute, right?
Of course. And him being a system man begs the question whether somebody is not undermining somebody at that finance ministry whenever there is a new leadership. And if you remember on my last report last week, I've been talking about the technocrats themselves at that ministry. They need some political and financial audits, perhaps. Because if somebody is at the Ministry of Finance for that long, they come up as the minister, then you ask yourself, what news is he bringing on the table? Rather than why not be done for all those their opinion and they long before now. And in fact, provoke the question as to how loyal or how loyal it don't be to a superior than a ministry. So it cannot be it cannot be far from the problem, even if it's not the problem. So for me, I think the finance ministry is not about the ministers. It's about firstly drawing the line between the public servants in that institution, and also making sure that the technocrats do their work and the political heads do the supervision. It's almost inseparable at the Ministry of Finance as to tell whether Sajusu is a politician or a public officer. By virtue of work, he's a public officer, but by virtue of other days' job, we know he's a politician. So we are really having politicians in the courts of technocrats advising politicians. It's difficult. So for me, I think even if you change 5 ministers at the Ministry of Finance, at the end of the day, is that changing the economy? Because the minister is just a political head. You have persons who are economists, who are bankers, who are financial experts in the Ministry of Finance. We should be asking, what are they doing? Are they advising and they advise and then only take them, or they give them wrong advice towards this economic policy that we see?
But the administrative head of that ministry, the financial secretary, right?
Of course.
And throughout, all of the ministers that we don't come and go, it don't work with them. Even though work in the last government as well.
God.
So
you ask yourselves, has he been diligent with his work?
Yes. So if this man not able for I advise the minister they acted and they fail, then it means himself not capable of performing.
It means that he's also a failure by association. So for me, those are the issues where I think say the leaders, the president for the look at, and making sure that that ministry is well audited. Because I mean, if you do several audits that are ministry, let's begin with academic audits. You ask yourself why some of the policies that they fail. Where in other countries they come up with real policies where they address real time issue. Except for the co-op, what else are they talking about for that ministry? So I mean, the president is right in removing the minister, but he's removing the minister right thing to solve the problem. I don't think so at all.
Okay. Let us still touch on this parliament. I see independent observer independent observer gets this one. We say the speaker cry over reckless Okada riding inside. Basically, they talk about the CBD, Central Business District. Where the speaker of parliament, another member of parliament, and be the grumble, but the kind way how the bike riders they actually they perform, recklessly according to what they say. How the speaker be actually making case? They be really vexed?
Yeah, it was very vexed, and that came under speaker's announcement. That will be a new introduction under Honorable Dr. Chairman Abbas Bundu, and new insertion on the other paper we call speaker's announcement, where he uses that to speak on wide ranging, very poignant parts of parliamentary activities. And in his announcement, he was so vexed about the behavior of commercial bike riders, making all sorts of references towards their conduct, and which he described as the negative attitude towards the road users and others. And that was, very vexed. He, in fact, attempts for someone the committees responsible for transport, internal affairs, and with regards to that. But quickly we will see a response from one of the person we call himself chief bike riders, Honorable Simon in Lamina, we in fact don't take pride in having bike riders as a powerful part of his constituency and corner and across parts of the country. Maybe say it will big on their behalf and it will be an interlocutor between the bike riders and the issue where the speaker expressed. But that was almost a personal observation. Somebody would ask me at the gallery, say, that's one bike rider don't ride that far bad, so we think that part this morning. But interestingly, the issue of commercial motorbike riding.
All right. We get issue with in line. We actually get issue with in line. Very sorry about that. The internet. I think this again we can't speak to that seriously because the effect of increased data tariff, and how it don't tell on people them. This now one of the effects. You know, as you see already, I no need for talk for myself. Now read exact within the screen tell we poor connection, video pause, connecting. This not the language all the time where you get whenever you dey talk, you know, to people them as they begin for talk, they begin for discuss things them, whether on normal, you know, WhatsApp call or video call, whatever network you want for use. This not the language where they will begin to give you consistently. Poor connection, video pause, you know, connecting every other day. And at the same time, the data, they burn like no good, no bad. It just the burn. It just the burn. It just the go. Just like that. Like, could I not get it? It just the burn. And now, even with the burn where they burn, even with the bad connection where you see already on the screen, you know, it has well done be expensive again. And then the government not get any serious thing where they do with regards to things they are, you know. But we will come to that one. That just they explain. They watch exactly what's in there that you screen. You get me? Can you imagine? You get me, please? See? Even for the hearing myself na problem. You did say so now for the hearing na problem. It freeze them all kind way I want, like for say the inside freezer. All kind way the network they deal with them. But this is not the situation where we face with the country right now with regards all of the kind network challenges there. So, in the other side, and the way you get internet problem, yeah, they know they say not the day, but quick they don't fix out. I just you get me now? Ah well, thing don't come. This one very serious. You know, I just make fun of her, but it's very, very serious. Melvin, you get me? Melvin? You know, if Namibin just did decide for talk, since we get them as the top headline, if I just feel say no more, I just want for talk bad things about the country, about how the things then they go on. But now you just don't see them for yourself. Now, like how many minutes so now we on this? Imagine if there's something very, 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 very important to in life where we discuss how we go get for talent. And they look for job, for example, they want for international job. Now the only option this way get. You know, you just speak to how serious it not be. So this is not the situation we face right now. Very, very bad. Very bad, eh? Very bad for the country. Anyway, let's wait for him again, please.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how sneeze again what go here today. But this week.
Alright, so we will come actually to the issue where we face right now with regards this internet business. You know, but let me go again to another issue we are seeing at the Awoko newspaper. Awoko newspaper get a small headline where they put and say Parliament passes bill to expand jurisdiction of magistrate courts, streamline justice system. I not to get better idea about this thing. I not get idea at all about this thing. What thing is there about?
But basically, it is seek for make some amendments, making provisions for certain persons that the judiciary now for go up at the ladder, and making sure that institutions, particularly the courts in question, get more power. But I want to talk about the issue we talked about before we go for the break, whether the internet data.
Yeah, when it comes to that, we got a whole issue about Taiwan Day. In fact, I know the headline for today. When it comes to them, well. They're not going to allow you for talk about. The internet not going to allow you. We actually come to the internet today. We come to them. We get a whole topic.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So with regards to that's the legislation where the Attorney General and Minister of Justice is single-handedly piloted, and Parliament will say not get any controversy, and they give more mandates now to the courts for updates and with more independence and with some few persons and position.
So this one they give chance to the court for making. I not to get this one. I not to understand them.
It's just basically adding more powers to the courts.
Ah, okay. For able to take decision on their own.
Take independent decisions on their own.
Okay. So they don't need for anything where they want to take action. They don't need for the go complain to the executive or the legislature.
something of the sort in paper.
Okay. So let me go now. Let me go now to this issue where we put so, where you basically one begin for. But okay, before we go to that, there another thing very important. Let's talk money business quick. SLPP government cannot account for over 583 billion in 4 years. This is salon times where basically they talk about. I think they talk about the audit and audit reports.
Oh, it's quite an interesting report. Looking at the audit report, looking at how over the years the Auditor General, though now suspended, the Auditor Generals now suspended, and it's like that investigation in a Senate die. We always question on even the credibility and integrity of the current audit report. It runs to the fact that media outlets and they run a comparative analysis for the duration of governance of the ruling party, and only come out with loss. In fact, some other left-wing media outlets and only do a comparative analysis saying APC for the period of time compared to a specific period of time, what is the loss, and figures are coming out. The fact remains that there is still a lacking in political willingness for the efficacy and effectiveness to the audit report and its recommendations. And that's not going to be far-fetched from the fact that Parliament itself lacks the political willingness as well to go about in unraveling these huge losses on the state's coffer. And now for this paper, well, for me, I don't look at the audit report as a political document for the fact that if you want to run a comparative analysis on the audit report, then you get a whole work for do. But yes, this paper is just doing what I would call a scope, saying that under the governing SLPP, we promise to get accountability. We don't score very high in the fight against corruption. Where MCC scorecard don't make eligible for special programs and funding. Yet still, when it comes to what is the government saying about itself, it's saying the losses are very huge under the administration of President Julius Maada Bio. So that is the face value, but in comparison with other governments, it can be an interesting watch.
So look at this still. Let's just browse quick the paper. These 10 paper they are quick, yeah. This one first we are getting now the Salon time, Voice of Salon. Voice of Salon get this big banner headline where they say Works Ministry to cough up 532,672,492,000. This is not just the Works Ministry. Then if I browse quick one and go before, I see another one where we see now. Okay, I don't talk about this government generally. Just I wonder how this figure they tell like. Just one ministry they talk about 500 and something billion, and then this one they talk about the 4 years of the government. Then another one day again where we basically they see all of them one they are now money business with regards the government and how different ministry they're not able to account for different. Look at this other one, Permanent Secretary of Transport Ministry in big mess for over 1.3 billion bad contract. All of them when they talk about how the lost way the country defend with regards to money business. And we did talk about corruption, fight against corruption. And we did talk say we did succeed in the fight against corruption. But the losses, the cash losses and bad contracts them every other day, they sum up to plenty billions of leons. We really they win in the fight.
It will be somebody of an unsound mind for say he really fights against corruption, but he lost the fight against public purse losses. It's just irreconcilable. We don't raise the question about whether the ACC is a talk shop or a workshop. And of course, looking at accountability institutions, Parliament, the ACC, Audit Service Sierra Leone, and you look at even public trust around them, it's not at its highest or at its best way people they expect. So almost to political willingness. People are saying we are undertaking development, we are fighting corruption, but the losses. And unfortunately, the loss then are both case. Now make it unfortunate. Year in, year out, we get losses, and nothing is done about it. So how somebody will believe say we are indeed fighting corruption? Perhaps we are fighting some corruption. but holistically, the fight against corruption, if just the Auditor General's report is to be used, then Sierra Leone will be one of the best nations then on earth. But every year, Parliament approve budgets. I always say every year people in bank accounts and the facts and purse in the pockets, they also they full up. And unfortunately, a few people can get the bad luck or get case or go to court or for face ACC out of court settlement. It's quite
so this is not the problem. When you talk to ACC, especially then get waiting and call, system. If the problem this is not corruption from the system, then get all of them things, then they will say this is not systemic corruption. Anything where they begin to talk about systemic corruption, it means they don't take any serious action. Rather than go begin to say let them crank on the prevention, let no happen again. This just speak to the volume of the way you talk just now about they would get bad luck na ACC they went after, or na ACC they found guilty.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the case. Because now we see under the ACC administration, rest lost, nobody not guilty, but rest not come. How can you explain that? You don't need to be a rocket scientist to pick the flaws of the ACC. Now with the ACC say money come on, but the ACC they give you list of who said the money then they come on. Now with the ACC they tell me how they decide in courts and out of court cases. So the ACC itself who policies the ACC. And I think we need to be looking at the ACC then book also, because say the ACC then building we almost they done now, they don't depend for the key as outcomes. Fundamentally, you are good for corruption and salon and procurement. And the shortest cut only for their money loss by government. Well, if you say say unethical, but for their money loss. And salon money loss, no one is found wanting, unfortunately, for the money loss. So whether that magic money then government can allocate, we can loss. Perhaps we need some spiritualists or pray and fast, though we know the sources of how the money and then the loss. But basically, procurement is one, bad contract is another. We know we found from procurement and the likes of all that. So it's quite unfortunate that year in, year out losses in the camp, but not much is done. Then we have politicians bragging about fighting corruption.
So we did see, for example, the ACC they pull press release, like you rightly say, sometimes then they can just talk so they recover this amount. Who that's not the possible they recover and so, we're not gonna know. And commission of inquiry, they say a lot of people don't pay. Who that pay? We're not gonna know. So the ACC itself surrounded with some amount of secrecy. Where that again we go say surmounted to corruption. Because they're not transparent to the public.
And so secrecy that he made for the corruption they do. And it has like Kujimukuboku 2 months. The ACC fundamentally gets a law which some of we don't argue from 2018 say fundamentally wrong. The issue of assets declaration being secret, where ACC always done the champion. Some of we don't say it's not correct. If somebody is only declaring assets to the ACC, then where is public integrity and public interest? And no wonder you get politicians that will promise them will declare their assets public. Unfortunately, they don't do it. I don't want to mention names. But you cannot fight corruption when people have assets that are secrets. You can't. If some man in bill owes, you don't even put him there. But you go know that in the bill he owes, you can't pack you go know. So whenever in asset that secret, other person will know that public say that man they can bill for 5 owes the biller. You say in assets for the secret.
And we not go see that and easily, even government after government, because when any government they in opposition, then they say it's bad. But when they come, because they self get to do the same thing, then it's going the same process.
It's because of insincerity. It's because of the same corruption we talk about. If you know you are genuine, you can't start a government with one host. Why you don't declare that one host you get? Why you don't declare your business, your investment? Why? Then you have for all public interest. And let me tell you the biggest problem with public interest issue in Sierra Leone is that of conflicts of interest. Almost all our politicians have conflicts of interest, be it business or otherwise. And if you are not declaring them public, you are almost using the system or establishment as a gutter for your personal aggrandizement. So that's the argument against people already say, oh, you don't need to declare your asset public. If you're not declaring your asset public, then how possible for scratch you?
All right. we can go to another issue, two more issue. One get for do with Camboy newspaper where say President Bio the absolute man of our time. I don't know exactly what eh?
Well, really introduction for Ibalo what is absolute of his time.
Unfortunately, we don't get anything on that. Not just the front page.
Wow, that will be an interesting conversation. Absolute. If I look at President Bio from an absolute perspective, I will split it into two: the positive and the negative. And on the positive note, I think he has been very calm to the point that he's been faulted for being a mumu. On the positive, I think he has to some extent allowed governance to take its course. Yes, on the positive note, we have seen him empowering his wife, and by extension, the girl child. On a positive note, he has emphasized and continues to emphasize the need for human resource capacity building and building the human resources socially with education. Yes, that can be some of his positives. But if we have to look at the negatives, we can say he is very known for not interacting and dining and whining with his opponents. And even the case study can be within his own political party, which is now divided into two factions, the PAUPA and the SLPP. If we have to look at the negative, we can say perhaps he's a leader who exerts political revenge by the way we saw things unfolded after the 2018 general elections and how he kept silence around some of those things, especially national cohesion. Perhaps national cohesion also can be one of his defects. And yes, it can be absolute positively and negatively. So it depends on what absolute perspective you are coming from to talk about President Bio. But yes, it can be absolute. He's also absolute in scrabbling. He has been super absolute in being one of the most scrabbled. So yes, that's an absolute attribute of President Bio. And of course, we know, yeah, he's a man of the moment. He wants to go. He has been coronated. He has been coronated, not elected, after faulting the APC of selection. So he's back to the roots of the APC. We don't know what they're having in common, but he has been coronated.
Since you talk about coronated and not elected, now only one person from the SLPP we see come up with that kind of issue. They way one for challenge him. But we still say Lima been threatened in the public, you know, on the television, and after that they will not hear that guy again.
So was Lima doing the past job? Well, they can say coming events can cast their shadow. But certainly, we know the facts will remain that he was coronated, not elected.
And the Constitution gives the chance for that?
Well, the Constitution talk about election. So where you create a technical default situation as we what we receive so ahead of the 2023 general election of technical default. Politics don't always happen normally again, something that's superficial. So man can be cheap on politics before even the day of the election. So what is the case that people were intimidated by that table and I would have got a mind for God that we saw people like GOB, they were all there. But perhaps we not do due diligence as to ask what's happening with the presidential ambition after that time day. So yes, it's absolute that he's the one man running the show at the SLPP for now, without a running mate.
So we see bigger problem after Marabio in the SLPP because you just talk about divided into two, the PAUPA and the SLPP. So if that be the case, the PAUPA will still want to maintain the position after Marabio, and whilst the SLPP would have then consider themselves going for their own position as well. So you foresee another big problem within the SLPP after the Marabio regime whenever that happened.
I am not a political soothsayer, but having devoted my whole life to political journalism, I will foresee, if not the same or worse than what the APC is having for the SLPP post-Marabio. The good thing, if they are re-elected, perhaps it will be stage managed well. But at the end of the day, the result will just be like Usabia, as in the case of the APC. So now things seemingly on top of the water look calm for the SLPP, which I don't think so. But of course, the power of the incumbency, suppose for most will all experience that they go and come up. But yes, all is not well. There is an uneasy calm in the SLPP for the fact that we know the SLPP is divided between the PAUPA and the SLPP. Of course, the SLPP will want to come and take their party back. Will they be getting the leverage? Looking at the way how the power cadre exerts themselves within the party, though nationally, I don't think this is what many SLPP people will expect or wish for with regards to the state of the nation.
All right, so let's look at the last issue, wey very important, and this one I think we be just to talk about where you self get serious interest over. Basically, first of all, NATCA and the MNOs, NATCA and MNOs increase data tariff, and we see first of all, then there's there, so we see a newspaper report, we see then they quote the MNOs them say, then are the mobile network operators them say the increase in mobile tariff not they affect the consumer, are the one that we think they actually mean.
It's interesting. I used to buy monthly subscription for 15,000. Now that is going for weekly. That is just the technical difference, the duration there, and the rates per.
So sorry. You used to buy a monthly and now weekly. We mean say it don't 3 times more than I been told. Oh God, they don't go there back. So that say the money maybe they pay for month, it don't 3 times past waiting it been talek before you.
Of course, because if applications are under the package of monthly now under weekly, that means to say don't increase. So it's unfortunate. And this is just coming on the aftermath of the court's decision to first reprimand Edmond Abu for contempt, slamming him with a cost of 7 billion, and him losing the matter against the MNO, the NATCA and Orange and Africell. So why? It's the MNO that they capitalize on the judicial ruling in their favor, saying that now we can do whatever we want to, since Edmond Abu has lost his case with 300 other Sierra Leoneans. The last time somebody was arguing me on one of the television stations, saying that he crossed the line and it was contempt of court, which I don't support because I have never contempted Parliament. But the fact that it was a public interest issue, I think Edmond Abu was only exploring the options left, using the media, using his activism voice, and so on. And for him to have been slammed for 21 days, and somebody was saying that, unfortunately, we have still some munkus among our folks saying that when a matter is before the commentate on that, I say this is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate because there is no constitutional provision for such. Very unfortunate because international best practice every day. You look at CNN, Al Jazeera, you have their legal experts. They give legal opinions. They tell you where the case is going, where it's coming from, what are the punishments that are there. You there abroad, you know it's how they talk. So now here we get some people and because of them get some platform, they can't say you say a case that are costing for talk, but would I tell you that? What are the constitutionalities for that? Unfortunately, Edmond Abu is down. Whatever he might have said, I asked where is the evidence of consent? And some people were saying, consent, you never go court press conference. That's in a crime. You never go, and so another thing that we the media and civil society will not make it known that the only thing you know for talk, you know for preempt the outcome of a court's ruling, but I don't just for talk about that. And unfortunately, Edmond Abu is a victim of not only the jeopardy in the case, losing his case and being reprimanded for contempt, but triple jeopardy, losing public interest matter in which we all know. Look at the line is sickening. And yet still, these were the prayers before the courts, saying that the MNOs, they're not getting a right day for drug and quality of service and things like that. And in all, they lost the case. They lost some with a cost. We not have a prayer from the lawyers for the accused or the defendants, and also he was reprimanded for allegedly what he used the media for say. When we feel say the section 25 of the Constitution, section 13, section 11, all of those considerations should be considered.
So I think one of the things that we Edmond be the try for talk about, for example, if they win the case, every Sierra Leonean they get 5 million. If they lost the case, then they go another appeal. Now then they go for the ECOWAS court. I don't know how that happened for big content.
Well, I don't say for go ECOWAS court. When the contempt are for which they allegedly talk now some radio interview and a press conference that he crossed the line, I don't have the evidence before me. But I think if you go to the ECOWAS court, it's not done with CIA8 because if you are coming from the High Court, there is an appeal court.
If they actually, look at how the case could get for end. Say if
he lost the appeal.
If he lost the case, then it could go ECOWAS court, which will happen right now. He don't lost the case. So the only option we get now for go ECOWAS court. Now that's basically be the try for say. But if he win the case, then every Sierra Leonean when he use mobile network will get 5 million.
Well, I think judicial correctness should be considered. Yeah, their company and they get that money for pay every Sierra Leone 5 million. If they get that money, they prefer for pay every Sierra Leone. Focus on saying and lemons are set to and then kind of bad thing and they if they I know what I must say anything was saying Mr. London in contempt, but I think the fact remains that Edmond being gets a case and still gets a case. And for go ECOWAS courts for now, me not a lawyer, but me not go advise them for go ECOWAS courts. Let's still explore the appeals courts because at the end of the day, if you go ECOWAS courts, they go ask them if you don't explore all avenues that in national jurisdiction. So, assuming that appeals courts will take another donkey years, perhaps Edmond is envisaging that I will not have that time to be wasted. But again, I think we should be talking about his freedom now.
This way how the case end up so now appeals courts then go?
I need to look at the reports again, but I think it's a high court. It's high court church. And the official is high court church.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of the high court.
Okay.
And if it's a high court matter, there is another court which is the appeals court, and it can go as far as to the Supreme Court. But again, Edmond and his younger people don't get the money. So I think I'm ready for support them by giving them the crowd fund they need. Because you talk about paying of lawyers for challenge your own process. But I will tell you, this is a public interest matter where we will not see much interest from even civil society except for few that will come out with the statement. But we will not be seen for a porous call by some civil society on the demanding or the detention of Edmond Abu. No matter what you say, he was championing the cause of the people. Even if it might not cross the line, but what he was saying, that see me you are affected, and me you get affected more because we are doing online journalism, we are using the internet, and we bank on the company and they provide data or mobile data. Wherein that is a problem, and somebody take the matter to court in the interest of the public.
Saying that the role of the government in all of this increased data, because at one point we see say not only when Edmond Abu lose the case before this thing come up. At one point, the government itself through NATCA been don't instruct the mobile company them for use what they call floor price, where that is automatically now for let them increase the data or the tariff. Because of the public, then draw them back. But now we see, say, the company they don't ask back when are the initiative of NATCA, when are the government initiative. So within few hours when the company they ask, then sign that document quick and give the company the green light. You know, things say the government be just one place safe with the first instruction when they give. Now I made them withdraw and now they use the company there for ask for letting not like saying that the government they advocate for the company them.
Always there has been this argument as to the need for an increase in tariff. And the companies that don't argue on the exchange rates, inflation, the currency, and a whole lots of economic factors. The fact remains that the public interest here is not being protected by the government and the states collectively, because we are in the court should have come out with, even if Edmond not winning case, but some other than when they make them company they are no say they're supposed to provide effective services. Then from the judiciary you see that they get protection. And from the executive, always it is obvious that it seems as if the ministry is in the pockets of the enemies, unfortunately. That's all the government operates. And you can understand why. These are corporate bodies with huge millions of leones, if not dollars, at the bank account.
Alright. So huge dollars and billions of leones na them bank account for Reconnect Melvin. A very good one. Bank account and reconnecting. Anyway, we don't actually come to the end of the show with Melvin on the freezer still. I think we actually they can end the program now. Yeah, so we basically don't talk about the different issues them we come up from the different issues them different papers them we them post or we then release this morning. Well, we actually they can end the program now. Yeah, and one for tell the producer we they look forward for see how Melvin will come and give in final statements in the program for now. But in the meantime, let me tell thank you to the producer of this program, we na Elias Abba. Elias Abba, we na actually don't produce this particular program. Don't give you all waiting it take for we do this particular program today. Melvin, the line actually, as they talk about bank accounts, then put you in your account saying that then they control you. So now let me just get your final word on this particular issue of the mobile company, mobile data, and the effect on the people.
It's very huge. Imagine we really manage to get small. I mean, this will stifle freedom of expression and communication. Many people are now, although not 25% internet penetration we get, they're not internet communicates. And we are in the cost to go up. It makes people that will get limited communication, limited interaction, and by so doing the space for public conversation will be shrink. So the government will count the cost. The economic times are not palatable at all. Everybody know that things not easy. And if somebody ever go buy expensive, you don't let go buy things for this. You don't let go buy things for it. You go buy data. And of course, you don't let you begin a launch or afford something basically ahead of the election information flow will be very, very clear. So we call on the players then for consider the poor people. Because the poor people and the bear the brunt of all of this. And for the two people that we feel say that they don't interest because of their pockets and everything that they give them, don't forget we are around the election. Some of these issues you might surprise how it will make people that get sympathy or apathy for elections of candidates or even political parties as the time they go on. So I think that's my take on that. And I also look forget it by passing system now for Abu and then company they are so waiting for the stifle the space for the digital era, especially online platform.
Thank you very much for joining me inside the program this morning for let we discuss different issues them we don't come out of the different newspaper them. We appreciate your time and effort. We appreciate you everything we don't put inside the program. Thank you. God bless you. Get yourself a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Plenty of followers and particularly the one that we send them comment.
All right, thank you. In name na Melvin Tijan Mansare, we na resident, reporter, parliamentary reporter, na the House of Parliament. We don't join me inside the program this morning for let we talk about different issues then. Well, thanks again one more time to the producer of this program, Elias Abba, and thanks to the team where we actually they look forward for release some very, very interesting program then for you. Well, until we meet again, my name is Tembepe, the freedom fighter. God bless we country, Sierra Leone.